I'm here to represent a point of view of a small manufacturer, also privately held. We're approximately 30 employees, and we started on our lean transformation about 5 years ago. And it's a process that's going to continue on for quite some time. Initially, we got into doing lean because we had actually had a fire in our building in 2005, and basically we had a company come down to visit us, a major manufacturer of commercial cooking equipment, and they had told me a story of how they went from 3 facilities, 750,000 square feet, ended up going down into one building, cut their workforce by 1/3. When they initially started out, they basically had, it took them 2 weeks or so to produce an oven. So a customer placed an order, it took 2 weeks to produce an oven. And they went from these 3 facilities down to 1. They had a bunch of employees that didn't agree with the process, so they kind of moved them out as they went through. They got to the point when they visited us in 2005 that if a customer ordered an oven by 10 o'clock in the morning, they shipped it that day. And it was just, I heard this and I was just amazed. We ended up implementing and basically moving to cellular manufacturing and trying to get as close to one-piece flow as we could. This is just a very simple, and actually we came up with we went from a U-shaped cell to an F-shaped cell because on some jobs we don't need to pin things. You can see a pinning machine there at the end. The other thing that we also did to kind of get people more organized is that all of our jobs for the day, this is just one cell, and you can see that there's approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 7 jobs up on the board. One cell will rip through those 7 jobs in one day. And it's very clear, on the bottom of the board are 3 jobs that are supposed to be in the production order, but they got bumped because there was an issue with maybe one of the components didn't come in-house in time, or it's pending, so it's at the bottom because when our UPS drop-off comes at 10:30 in the morning, the component might be in there. They'll be able to erase it and then basically put it back up on the board somewhere. So just something really inexpensive, and it really communicated what was going on. That's basically a $4 metal back sheet. Strips of magnets that we basically put tape over top of so that we could write on and erase. So a lot of people, when you're thinking about, you know, this is expensive to do lean, we really focus on things that don't cost much and give us a big improvement. You know, if you come into our shop, there's amazing some of the things that you can do with clothespins and a piece of wood. And that's what we're really good at, is looking at how we do things, spending lots of money on little tooling. And so that was one of the things I don't think Raymond covered is that there really is a lot that you can do without spending a lot of money once you learn the techniques and understanding your operation. Our cell 2 is basically a U-shaped cell, which is kind of more traditional. And then I just wanted to show you what we did as far as 5S, and there's a little story behind the pegboard and the shelf in front of it was some of the tooling. Again, we have approximately 30 employees. When we started going through and doing our cleaning in the shop, one of the common things that we use is a T5 stripper, little wire stripper. When we went through and cleaned, we found 68 of them. And we just kept on buying them. Tech-A-Tool was happy as anything. We just kept sending them orders all the time for new T-strippers. We found 68 brand new ones in the shop, not to mention the ones that were worn out that we threw out. But again, a lot of people don't realize that the simple little things that you don't think really affect you, they do. It was just amazing, all the stuff that we found. We actually went to a labeling system too, where we try to do things that are visual. Some of you might have issues with people also needing not only labels, but also needing the actual what the product looks like. So this is a little example of something that we did fairly inexpensively. Just handwriting on the boxes, and then all those little bags that are taped to the boxes are actually the type of connector. because some people didn't understand our part numbering system on the shop floor. So again, it was something to do with being very visual. We are somewhat different from a publicly traded company in that we can do a lot of different things to get the employees to buy in, and that's something that's very important. We do have a profit sharing program. The employees know that that the profit sharing program is a percentage of our total profits, and the more that we make, the more they get. So that was very important in promoting this. They also saw that I was really pushing this. I was committed to drive them to become better. One of the other things we also noticed is that when we did it in stages. We didn't come in and just make the whole shop into a cell. We started with cell 1, and certain employees worked in cell 1, and the other employees started noticing, holy cow, look at how relaxed they are. They're all talking about what they did last night, and they're not screaming at each other that they need this or that or the other thing. It really changed the attitude and the amount of stress on the floor. They also realized that because we were really committed to making the jobs easier for them to do, what they found is they didn't have to work as hard when we implemented Lean. Because of all the little tooling that we invested in, because we continually looked at how we did different jobs, and they realized that if we spent $15 on a little jig that we made up in-house, that it made the job easier, and they would struggle through and try to do a job a different way, and they noticed that. They noticed the reduced stress, how it actually made their job easier, which continued to make the buy-in easier for all the employees. We also translated the real efficiency by doing a couple of things. Basically, one of the important components of Lean is that you got to be able to measure things so that you can understand exactly what you're gaining, because again, we like to try to do things that are inexpensive, cheap, and we want to know if they don't work, we want to fail really quickly. So we always measure things first. So basically what we started doing is we did things like we looked at our 40-hour work week, we had a list of jobs, and we had approximate times that we thought it was going to take to run the jobs. And we basically challenged the employees that if they could do each one of the jobs 10% faster, that we would basically pay them for the full week. So we gave them the list of jobs, and we said, if you finish on Wednesday, we'll pay you for Thursday and Friday. So again, that really kind of motivated the employees to really look at how they did things and make suggestions. So we were able to do things like that. And we also do a lot of, every time we have a Kaizen event, it's a little, I always buy them lunch, so they always look forward to that. We actually changed our process, again, like I said, by going through and doing work cells. We did it by one, and then we kind of implemented the second cell. And what we eventually found out and we took down a lot of tables. We had a lot of tables in the building. We ended up taking 5 or 6 tables out of the process. I had a problem with one of my production managers. He was really upset that all these tables were going away. He just didn't know how we were going to be able to work with all these few tables. We're at the point now that we have room for another 2 cells, but we're only using cell 1 and 2 because we're going through the jobs fast enough that that's all we need. At one point in time, we were trying to figure out how we were going to expand the building to keep up with our growth. At this point in time, our space usage is much better than what it was back in 2004. One of the Kaizen events that we did, and we tended to focus on whatever was in the schedule and looking at the jobs. So our approach was okay, we're going to have a couple of people in this Kaizen event. One of the things I like to do is I like to invite in somebody who absolutely knows absolutely nothing about building temperature sensors. So I have a friend who happens to work in the concrete industry. And it's amazing how many times the guy who makes concrete comes up with an idea that we just can't see. So that's one of the things as we run these Kaizen events, that's what we like to do.